Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a detachment that we should at least try to review. Again, Hexwarp Thrallband. We've talked about how bad it is in the past, and I'm not here to say that it's gotten any but better, but I am here to say that Thousand Suns builds have changed. And when that happens, I feel that it is worth at least looking at the alternatives to see if it's any better there as well. So, what do I mean? Looking at Thousand Suns, they've been relatively quiet. We have over here Michael, and some of the typical things, but instead only two rubrics, triple mutalith, cultist, and predator destructors and Zangors. That's pretty Cabal points light, right? That's not that intensive. Have another one with TJ Lanigan. Alright, we got some more Cabal points going. But still, double Mutalith, Cultist, Enlighten. And over here with Struan. Struan, maybe? Feel free to correct me in the comments. This is probably our most Cabal point intensive out of the ones, but still a Mutalith Vortex Beast, Cultist, Enlighten, right? So, it's been interesting seeing the ratios change, and I'm here to think about what applications they could have in Hexwarp Thrallband. And one thing that I guess I missed last time when I was doing Hexwarp is the fact that with a Mutalive Vortex Beast and something like Empowered Manifestation for 20 points, while the Bears unit is wholly within your army's flow of magic, you're always within your flow of magic in your deployment zone, and it's the same with Power Matrix and Chaos Demon, so on and so forth. If you control more than half or more of the objectives within No Man's Land or your opponent's deployment zone, that's in your flow of magic, right? While you're within that, you can add 6 inches to the range of psychic abilities the bearer has that specify a range, including rituals, and each time a model in the bearer's unit takes a hazardous test for a psychic weapon, you can reroll the result. So, uh, with that, 6 inches, in combination with being next to a Mutilative Vortex Beast. Now, I'm not sure what order takes precedent, right? I don't know if you add 6 and then double, or double and then add 6. So results may vary, I would say slightly, but either way, you're getting to 40 something inches on a ritual called Doombolt, right? So it's within 18 inches. If you double it to 36 and then add 6, you're at 42. Or if it's add 6, 24, and then 48, either way, you have a Doom Bolt that is being launched from pretty far away. And it gets better when you're using something like a sorcerer to do that. Because with Illusions of Zinch, while this model is leading a unit, that unit can only be selected as the target of a ranged attack if the attacking model is within 18 inches. So, you're Doom Bolting across the field and can't be hit back. That's something that I just thought was pretty interesting that is now possible with the Mutilative Vortex Beast and Empowered Manifestation. But moving on past that, what else do we have? Well, Rubric Marines, since they're being taken a little bit lighter, I don't know if it feels as bad in the fact of, oh, you either get the reroll wound rolls of 1 for psychic attacks or +1 to wound, especially when rubrics themselves don't have many psychic attacks, as everybody found out. You just don't have that many psychic attacks in Thousand Suns apparently. So, mind you, rubrics can get access to rerolls and attach to a unit, such as the aforementioned sorcerer, which might have a psychic attack or two, but it's kind of negligible. You're just getting the rerolls one way or another, right? Then going on from the rubric Marines, wanted to talk about Magnus's inclusion, right? So Magnus still is a psyker. Melee weapons have psychic attacks. Ranged weapons have psychic attacks. Has deep strike. While a friendly Thousand Suns Psyker is within 6 inches of the model, each time a model in that unit makes a psychic attack, add 1 to the hit roll and add 1 to the wound roll. Alright. And then you have options for auras, as the Primarchs do. Each time an attack is made against a Psyker, -1 damage. At the start of your opponent's shooting phase, you can select one enemy unit within 24 inches of invisible to this Psyker. Till the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit have hazardous, or while a friendly Thousand Suns unit is within 6 inches of the Psyker, +2 to move, characteristic of models in that unit. All good stuff, alright? All good options. But the thing that I do find interesting with Magnus is that, well, you already had +1 to hit, +1 to wound for your psychic attacks because you are a Thousand Sun Psyker. But with Deep Strike, and I'm probably covered this last time, but once again, now you have access to something like Warding Hex, where you can rapid ingress Magnus in with Deep Strike, and then when it comes to your command phase, 1,000 Sun Psyker from your army within range of an objective marker you control. If that objective marker is wholly within your army's flow of magic, that objective marker remains under your control until your opponent's level control, yada yada yada. You can sticky with Magnus and then walk to somewhere else. Now, you do have to be wholly within your army's flow of magic, so that means you probably already have command of something, or at least enough portions of the board, but now you can keep pushing that advantage with Magnus walking around and doing Magnus things. You also can turn on things like scoring Warp Flame, where you can use your ranged weapon within your flow of magic, ignore cover, strip the cover. And several other things, Kaleidoscopic Tempest, Strands of Time, is just to say that I still don't think that you just completely negate taking Magnus and Hexwarp Thrallband. I think there's enough applications that you remain invested with his inclusion. So, going past Magnus, though, there's Thousand Suns Demon Prince with Wings and the regular Demon Prince, which are also walking melee attack having monsters, or I shouldn't say walking for both of them, uh, monsters with psychic attacks on their melee weapons, and as we learned from Scintillating Legion, that could possibly be handy, right? So, with Hexwarp Thrallband, you get reroll wound rolls of 1 for psychic attacks, and the melee weapons, as we just stated, are psychic attacks. So that still has use, and if it's wholly within your army's flow of magic, +1 to wound. Now, it's not in combination with the rerolls, right? You don't necessarily get both, but a Demon Prince, either version, around Magnus can have +1 to wound and reroll wounds of 1 outside of the flow of magic and their characters, so they can take enhancements such as Arcane Might, +1 to the strength characteristic of psychic weapons equipped by models in the bearer's unit. So now we're talking about a Demon Prince with Strength 9, AP 2, Damage 3, 6 attacks, +1 to wound, rerolling wound rolls of 1. I'm just saying, that sounds passable, right? That sounds passable. We'll have to see in the final go of things, if anybody actually finally tests this, how much that actually equates to. Now, once you get to the flow of magic, you are +2 to strength and +1 to wound, so you would be losing the rerolls of 1. But that is to say, at that point, you don't need to be next to Magnus for it. So, I think this is the attempt again at what they did for Zinch Demons into what if you actually try to punch people? Because you looked at the psychic attacks, we all did, and you go, well, that just goes on my characters. My little sorcerer guys have funky little psychic attacks, but, you know, the demons do as well. Well, apparently not all of them, right? Odd that the mutative vortex be warp vortex is not considered psychic. Don't really know what the deal with that is. But beyond that, you do have, you know, melee beaters that can possibly push the advantage. You're also looking at something like Empiric Onslaught, where while the bear's unit is wholly within your army's flow of magic, +3 to the attached characteristic of ranged psychic weapons equipped by the bear. So that's definitely on the smaller peeps. And as we looked at some smaller peeps, that could be Thousand Sun Sorcerer for Fires of the Abyss. That could be something else, right? With lethal hits and sustained. So it's interesting. Last time I covered the fact that Noctilith Mantle uh, essentially always kept you in your army's flow of magic, and that still applies. So you can put Noctilith Mantle on once again one of the demons and make sure that they're just +1 to wound, right? Just +1 to wound with their 14 strength 6 attacks for the fuck of it, right? With their 6 strength 8 attacks for the fuck of it. So I think if somebody really likes the bigger things, you might want to at least look into Hexwarp Thrallband. And finally, I've talked about allies. Last time I was talking about Hexwarp Thrallband, but one of them got changed, and it might actually help the case around this time because their speed and chip damage. Yeah, we're talking about the Screamers. 14-inch moving, T4, 4 up and vulnerable save, 3 wound, beast with fly, that now have anti-monster 4 up, anti-vehicle 4 up, and in your movement phase after this unit ends a normal move, you can select one enemy unit and moved over during that move and roll 1d6 for each model in this unit. For each 4 up, that enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Yeah, Screamers, cheap enough, might as well see if they can thrall some warp hex. I don't know, I tried. But yeah, Hexwarp Thrallband, still don't think that I love it yet, but with list moving away from Cabal Point Central, I think you can at least try it, right? I think you can at least try it. So yeah, if you like the video, like it, got a comment for me, comment, and until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.